How's it going, everybody? It is stage 20 of Le Tour de France, Le Tour de Beer. Welcome to the channel. I do apologize for the weird lighting. It's just, you know what? I'm not going to try and be perfect. I'm just going to finish out this tour. So, I am a former professional brewer, someone who likes to ride bikes, likes to talk about my bike rides, so we throw it all together where, during the Tour de France, we have a different beer every day of Le Tour. Even if I'm not technically drinking a beer, like today, because I have some stuff that needs to be done. So, not having a beer, today's edition, the Stage 20 show, is going to be relatively short because, well, there's not that much to talk about. Beer, not having one. But I did decide, why do I have to talk about the beer that I'm actually drinking? Why not talk about other things? Maybe beer styles or beer history. And we can do that for these next couple of days as well. Today's bike ride, there wasn't one. They were supposed to do a little short ride in the morning to kind of open up the legs and be ready for the gravel ride that I was doing on Sunday. But then I said, you know what, I'm not going to do the gravel ride on Sunday, so I wasn't worried about it. So no bike ride today. That said, I did talk to some friends of mine. One's a personal trainer, the other one is a doctor. And they're like, dude, there's no reason why you can't do this gravel ride. I have to be on an empty stomach. I can't eat anything for the next like 24 hours, so it's only liquid diet. You can have liquid calories. I mean, think of gravel racing. Those guys aren't eating tacos while they're on a ride. You're getting everything in your bottles. You're getting all your nutrition, you're getting your electrolytes, you're getting your calories out of your bottles. So, Maple-Aid, which is a more natural version of, say, having Gatorade. If I really need that much sugar, yeah, you can have some Gatorade. So when they mentioned Gatorade, I started going, well, what about Maple-Aid? And I described them what maple is. Maple-Aid is from untapped maple, if you don't know, and it's pretty much all pure Vermont organic maple syrup, sea salt, lime, or ginger, or tea, all things that I can have. That's going to be energy. Now, I'm normally doing that while I'm on a gravel ride. Try to go through a bottle an hour, and then every half hour I'm eating a packet maple syrup and then like an untapped waffle, similar to a Stroop waffle, and I alternate. So within the hour, I'm at a syrup and a waffle and a bottle. So I can't have the waffle. Make sure I do that the right way. That would have been bad. Uh, and just double syrup. If I feel like I need more, have a third syrup. It's just pure maple syrup. It's good for you. And has a little bit of electrolytes. If I need something a little bit more electrolyte in it, have some salt, whatever, and Maple-Aid. So why not do that? And I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's load up on pasta and be ready for the next day and do a gravel ride on just a liquid diet. And if you just can only have liquids and clear liquids, when you have a procedure like this, they tell you don't have alcohol. And that's why I was like, I'm not gonna have any beers. The doctor in this says you can have a beer. I'm like, wait, come on now. So she finally says, she said, they're telling you not to have a beer because they don't want people getting wasted on an empty stomach. You have like 4 beers or whatever, and you haven't eaten anything. Yeah, you're going to be hammered. And if you have a bunch of beers, well, then you're dehydrated. So you can't be dehydrated on something like this either. So, but because you know what to do, so if you go and you really want to get the full experience and you want to have your post ride beer, have a beer, which actually has a good amount of calories in it as well. Just don't have something super hazy, unfiltered. I'm like, yeah, okay. But I probably won't anyway. We'll see how that goes. But I did want to talk beer. But let's talk about today's stage, shall we? Because this stage was insane. So at this point, the race seems to be pretty much wrapped up. It is a double going up Alpe d'Huez, including all the other big climbs to be able to get to Alpe d'Huez, which to me is still insane. The amount of climbing that these guys can do is insane, and the way they descend is insane. So yeah, let's talk green jersey. Mads Pedersen, what a ride by Mads! Manages to be able to break and get in with some of the climbers so that he can get those intermediate sprint points, leaving everybody else behind him. Green jersey, as long as he makes it to Paris, the green jersey's his. And now that means he has won the sprint or points competition, the green jersey competition in all 3 major Grand Tours. So capping it off with this. So I think that's pretty damn cool. Good for Mads, good for Little Trek. That should give them enough points, I think, to be able to also give Little Trek the team competition as well. So that's a big move for Little Trek. You get Mads, you've got Quinn Simmons being out there with his Hulk Hogan mustache, getting getting news, getting views. People are paying attention to Little Trek, and I think that's really really great for that team. Best Young Rider is your white jersey, and that's still a competition between Isaac Del Toro and Paul Sexas, and that is the young 19-year-old, I think he is, phenom out of France. But that's going into the stage. Coming out of the stage, it's a little bit different because you have Tadej Pogacar in yellow, who's on the same team as Isaac Del Toro. Tadej realizes how much work Isaac and the rest of his team, Adam Yates and everybody else, has done for him. He's going to work for them. It was very interesting to see him like pulling but not pulling, and he's kind of key working with his other guys because they're not launching the attacks. He didn't really lead any attacks, but he made sure everybody stayed in place, and I thought that was super cool. Um, and then the two guys who are up in the front, you've got Richard Carapaz, or three guys, I should say. After Remco got by them, Remco kind of took off a little bit. Tade's like, I'm not worried about that. I've got like 17,000 minutes lead. He's going to get whatever he gets. Doesn't make a difference. He probably wants a podium spot. Maybe he wants a two. Wants to try and go for a stage win. He wasn't going to get that because it was the Sepp Kuss show and Richard Carapaz show. Carapaz is in the polka dots, and through his climbing through the mountains, pretty much has that locked up. I think he does officially. It's him and Sepp Kuss, and they're riding together, and then Sepp takes off. And it's like, are we finally going to get that American win? That's going to be really, really cool. We haven't had an American stage winner since 2021, I want to say. I might have those facts wrong. Um, but it'd be great to see Sepp get a stage win. Sepp has a small crash coming out of a tunnel. It's dark, and then you can't really see it. That was more of a mishap than a crash, I would say. But you're going that fast, and you're in front, and you have an opportunity to win a tour. Maybe you start to get a little tight sphincter, and he overcooked another turn where he definitely had tight sphincter. We all had tight sphincter watching what was happening because that bend was super tight with a netting fence. It had padding, so obviously organizers knew someone might mistake this, and they're going to hit that pretty hard if they lose control. But then it goes from the padding to just netting, and after the netting is impending doom because it's a giant ravine that goes straight down, like one of those like the old Spider-Man thing. Yeah, it was that. Sepp hit that, clipped that, slides his butt cheeks across the curb there and into the fencing, and thank God that fence was there. And it was long. I think it should have been longer, but it was enough that Bob Roll didn't think he hit the fence. Phil Libick thought he did hit the fence. Either way, you're there, and if you're looking over the edge, you're like, "Oh yeah, that's how I die. That's it's all over down there." Thank God. And I think at that point, and that's when Carapaz got closer to him off the first mishap, passed him on that second one. Richie's probably like, I saw that go down, so I'm squeezing the brakes, and now I get by. Good, he's not dead. I'm pedaling. And Richie gets up onto the front in polka dots to win another mountainous stage. Richie Carapaz, an amazing ride, great ride by the whole EF team. Man, that sunlight's bothering me now too. Hopefully, it's not bothering you. Um, and yeah, EF Education first easy pose with a W. They come in for one. Remco, who's been chasing, ends up passing Sepp and getting the two. I don't understand why. It didn't matter if he got the two or the three. There's still bonus seconds. He's not sliding back. He's not going ahead. I don't know. Unless something crazy's happening that I don't understand for stage 21. I'm like, dude, you Sepp just almost died. Let him have the second. But there's no gifts in racing, I guess. Some people think Remco's a jerk. I don't know if he's a jerk. Um, if you, I don't know. You can make your own opinion on it. But anyway, he rolls in, gets the two, Sepp for three, and then Tade and Del Toro come across the line, arm in arm, doing like bullhorns for the Mexican bullhorn thing, because Isaac is the Mexican champion for 4-5. I think Sexas was just behind that on 6. That pretty much locks up all the jerseys too. So some really, really great racing because things were maybe blown out for who's going to win overall, but everything else was still kind of close at the end. Some definitely interesting rides. Uh, yeah, so tomorrow is stage 21. We will talk about that. I won't see the stage right away because I will be at the gravel race, and then I'll get back. Beer, no beer, we'll see. Probably not. I don't know. We'll see how I'm feeling. So let's talk real quick about a beer style, just so that we keep this complete. And I want to tell you about one of my favorite styles, which is Oktoberfest. So, Oktoberfest, the amber colored lager that comes out in the fall to celebrate the birthday of King Ludwig. Normally, this would happen because there was no refrigeration at that time. I'm really trying to. The shine's getting worse. I think the sun has moved. I'm not used to doing these at this time of day. Um, so they brew these beers in March, Marzen. That's why it's called a Marzen. And then they would age these beers in caves, in the cool temperatures underground, because the summers would get really, really warm. And now you've got this long, slow, cool maturing process to be able to release the beers in the autumn or in the fall for the Oktoberfest celebrations. Now, when I first started brewing and judging, it was there was Vienna Lager, and which is very, very close to Oktoberfest. And then Oktoberfest could be split into Märzen and Oktoberfest. And where and then you had Fest beer starting to come along. Now they're very separate. Think of your orange, darker hue as your Oktoberfest, and that they're Martin Oktoberfest. They're like using the same name now. And then you have Fest beer, which is supposedly what they're brewing or drinking in Germany. And because German's so rich in tradition, I'm really surprised that there's this difference, that there's a change. But I guess Fest beer is what they're drinking, the lighter color. It's almost like a big Helles lager. A little bit more body, a little bit more alcohol to it on this Helles, where when you see like an American Oktoberfest, it's that orange-ish color. I don't want to call it American Oktoberfest because I've had this issue for a while. When not the BJCP, but when the BA, the Brewers Association, came up with a definition of American Oktoberfest, and what it did is it allowed for more hops. In my mind, you messed up your Oktoberfest. It's not supposed to be a hoppy beer. You over hopped your Oktoberfest. But because the BA wants to be like, well, you can enter all your beers. Hey, we'll make a new category for it. To me, money grab. Sorry, BA. I mean, the Brewers Association was very vital in my career and things that I did, but I also understand when people are just trying to get money, and that's a money grab. American Oktoberfest, your overhopped Oktoberfest. No, you made a red lager, and you screwed it up. So there is no American Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest is Oktoberfest is Oktoberfest. You want to break it down into Märzen? You want to break it down to Fest beer? Sure. You overhopped it, you effed up your beer. It might be tasty, but it's not in a category. Not every beer has to fall into a category, but when you are making beer, when you're brewing a beer to a style, you need to nail the style. So Marzen, Oktoberfest, and Fest beer. A little bit lighter in color, but still that full malty, super quaffable, easy to drink. And then Martin Oktoberfest, also a little bit more malty, but a little bit more dark malt to it. So a little bit more of that caramel note might be in that beer. Always clean, always German or noble hops, never overpowering, and a great, great clean finish. So you can have it with your sausages and whatever else that you want to be able to have. So thank you for sticking with the entire thing. Normally, I'm talking the beer and sprinkling it in during some bike riding stuff. Thought it was going to be a shorter video today. We're approaching 14 minutes. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you tomorrow for stage 21 of Le Tour de France Tour de Beer. If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell so that you know when there's more videos coming out. And after Le Tour, I'll take a couple of days off, and then I'll start doing these weekly, I want to say, and working on my quality of video and setup or whatever as we start to get back into it. But you want to be here so you can say you were here for the beginning of the journey. Until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, ride bikes, drink beer, and do epic shit. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you. Cheers.